Okay, we're live.
All right, call the order, roll call.
Chairman Updegrove,
Here.
Vice Chairman Vocchio,
Here.
Mr. DiPaolo.
Here.
Mr. Forma. Ms. Johnson,
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Okay. everybody?
Okay, approval of the 9/26/25 meeting minutes.
Motion.
Mr. Vocio, second by Mr. DiPaolo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, financial report.
So in your packets, there's a ton of information. The first sheet is the activity from the unrestricted account since our last meeting. Our checking account balance is $120,805.52. Then you have the unrestricted trial balance that shows the year-to-date activity. The next sheet is the restricted, the ARPA funding. The only thing that's happening right now with the ARPA funding is that interest is coming in. There's $9,514.88 in there. The plan is to have that all spent down by December 31st. There won't be anything left by then.
I think we have until December 31st of 26. I think that was extended, but I don't plan on going into 26. We'll have it spent this year. Right? I mean, that's the plan.
Whatever you prefer, the board. I could spend it easily in 2026 because I have major insurance expenses, so.
No, it's gotta be, it's not just the nine, it has to be used for, it has to be used for allowable expenses under the guidelines.
Yeah, the insurance was like payroll insurance, things like that. I won't be doing it for payroll because payroll would mean I would have to completely change checking accounts in the paycheck system, so I'm not going through that, but I was gonna use it towards insurances.
Okay.
But, I mean, I could have it, the plan was
insurance
to
is
have
fine.
it gone before the end of the year though.
I'm only mentioning it just because I was asked that question during a legislature meeting, and I actually researched it while I was sitting there and realized that it had been extended. I don't even know if I was aware of that.
Okay.
I think it's extended to the end of 26.
What?
It still had to be encumbered, which we did,
Mhm.
still had to be encumbered by 12/31/24.
Yeah, we'll take the 750 back.
Yeah, right?
And then there's the trial balance for the restricted funding for the ARPA funding, which is the year-to-date. So then the next document is for the Phase 1 land bank operations, which is our admin. And we started our new grant, which is still $150,000. And you'll see the October through December, it says draw one. I'll be drawing that down at the end of December, but those are the expenses that we've incurred so far for that grant. And then going into the next set of documents, gets a little confusing, but so we have Phase 2 funding, and then we got a new grant, but they also added money to our old.
Right, when you say new grant, so when you said new grant,
Okay, so this is a
New
new
grant,
hundred, this
different
is,
new grant,
this
same
is
new grant.
round 4 of the $150,000 admin.
Different new grant.
I'm calling it a new grant, but
Round
it's
four,
round 4,
150 admin, gotcha,
Admin.
okay.
okay?
And this new grant
Is,
is not round 4 admin.
no,
This is round,
this is for your stabilization, your acquisition, all our capital,
And then-
redevelopment.
all right, how much is this grant for?
So this one, what happened was they gave us, if you go to the second sheet too, they gave us new money of $1,405,263. And you'll see to the left, that's strictly for building stabilization and rehab, demo, and program delivery.
Okay,
Okay, but what they did to our original Phase 1 money, which was originally on page 1, you'll see originally 1408050.
Mhm.
They added, if you look to the top, $434,000 into pre-development and $450,000 into property acquisition. And then everything after that, the stabilization, the demo, and the program delivery are the new grant.
What is program delivered?
Well, we
Is that
thought
slush fund?
we thought it was 5%, the way they said it was 5% of your expenses. And I originally started to bill it that way. And then after about 5 draws of that, I got a email from HCR saying, where's your invoice? And I said, I provided you with an invoice, 5% of our expenses. No, it can't be like that. You have to have expenses that aren't covered by anything else so that we're not duplicating.
Well, where do they define program delivery expenses?
The like administrative stuff or?
It's administered consulting that's not covered by anything else. Like I
So
put,
for
the,
us,
I put the hotel study on there
Program
because it wasn't really covered by anything else. But they actually want an invoice. So for instance, if we were to use, we could use it for personnel. But Matt and I, our salary's covered by the admin grant. So it would
They're
be
not
like,
completely covered, right?
not anymore.
Not
They
anymore.
were up until this grant, up
Yeah.
until this round 4. So
So we can find uses to identify, so we don't lose out
yeah,
on our
but
funding.
we do need a bill. So it's not just profit, 5% free money because they're giving it. It's not like that. I have to give them a bill. So for instance, if let's say I use Amy's services for environmental and I pay her, I would have to get a bill from Amy, pay Amy, and submit the proof of payment. So all it is a wash. It's not 5% profit.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
covering other expenses
Right.
that you
Yeah.
normally might come out of the.
Right.
Yeah, but
It don't fit
we
into
thought,
other buckets.
what we thought it was going to be able to help cover operational expenses, which it doesn't.
That
We
aren't
don't
covered.
have enough grant funding to cover operational expenses.
It really is meant to just support
So-
the activities.
So I don't want to say.
Like board bonuses would be covered by that delivery?
Sure.
That's from the slush fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to segue off of this because, but relative to personnel costs and administration. So the grant is no longer covering that. But now with Tyler versus Hennepin, my question is, given the fact that we have less opportunity to actually receive revenues over and above from the sale of properties, what are we, is there another source of revenue for administration and personnel other than the sale of properties?
So my thought is that, and I mean, I talked to Matt about it, we have $450,000 in acquisition money, which is what they added on to that first phase 2, which was like an addition. So with $450,000, this is whatever you guys decide, but with $450,000 of acquisition, maybe we can buy some properties, throw a little stabilization in and.
Talk to you about, but see, what we're getting at, and when you're saying that, and this is what I want to talk to you about after the meeting. If that's the way we're gonna start operating, we gotta think about this, because I think, and we've had these conversations, a lot of the work that we do is work that we're involved in because the private sector won't do it.
Mhm.
We're working on properties that are upside down, so if the only way that we can survive is to go out and find properties that we think that there's a value in, like flipping, so to speak, we're doing what the private sector would do just so we can survive. That's not really what we're meant to be for. I don't think that's what we're meant. We're not supposed to be replacing or competing with the private sector.
Yeah.
Which is why, I reached out to each of the municipalities, because if you remember, when we first started, we had no funding.
Right.
And everybody agreed that everybody would pay their pro rata share of, work, insurance, whatever. We never did that because it sounded easier, like, when you're writing it out than in practice. It was me, Amy, and Jackie, and it wasn't really our job. So it was like, we didn't know how to bill everybody.
We didn't have any staff.
We didn't have any
There's something with
staff, and
everything was
how you gonna
just-
take an insurance policy and split it 5 ways when one person used it more than the other? So we never did any of that. So I have spoken to each of the municipalities to try and renegotiate that. Katie redid like a proposal and I sent it out. As of today, I don't think that anybody has put us in their budgets. So that's what I was gonna talk to you about, and just, I think we are gonna have to, if we're gonna continue, we're gonna have to start like going back to that cost sharing method in 26 and talk about like how we're gonna start billing if we're gonna do work for the
So
municipalities.
What's the conversation? So when you talk to whoever it was from HCR that said, okay, you can't just take 5% for administration. What I'm assuming the follow-up was, okay, then what is your plan, like then if we can't take the 5% for administration, because that's pretty standard. I mean, just off the top of my head, I know that when we collect bed tax revenue, there's 5% admin fees.
A lot
Come right off the
of
top.
banks have municipal support.
Oh, well, I guess that's the answer then, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if the state, because the state wants the land banks to operate, but they don't have a plan for how we pay administration or personnel, because everything changed, the landscape changed drastically after the Tyler case, so.
But I don't
We
understand
also
why we
didn't-
couldn't just say that the 5% program delivery pays for Jackie, or pays for Matt, or pays for some percentage.
because
Well-
we get our initial admin grant pays for them, but that was provided, how many years ago now?
The operations
The
grant. that
operations
we have,
grant, how many years ago was that started?
Well,
was
we're around 4.
4.
Like 4 years ago. And when we went to reapply, correct me if I'm wrong, they said, no, that's gotta stay the same.
We tried to apply for
Salaries,
200,000.
healthcare, like insurance, nothing stays the same, but that amount of money stays the same. So when you go back to them, they're like, no, you already have money for that in this bucket.
Well, why can't we say, but this 5% is gonna cover
What's
the gap?
not
The
covered,
difference,
but-
yeah.
Right, so I haven't like confirmed with HCR how far I can go into it, but I believe what they were telling me with the 5% was that it just can't be covered anywhere else. So if I have a shortfall, like we have a $27,000 construction liability insurance policy, that's huge. So if that's something that's not covered anywhere else and our round 4 won't cover it, I just have to confirm with HCR that I can use it for admin. She did say personnel, so once I ran out of money in, which there isn't even enough budgeted to cover, the salary and the benefits. She did say personnel, I just have to make sure I don't double dip, is what I'm saying.
Right,
So there's that,
Well,
but I
that's
don't know
then we
about
can use it.
insurances and things that aren't
Yeah.
covered.
Okay.
We just need clarification then, right?
Exactly.
I think you're probably just gonna need to keep track of your hours, right? So you'll have a billable hour
Right.
rate essentially, and you put that, so we haven't done this, but there's plenty of evidence that my predecessors have for grants. So it's just a timesheet essentially.
That's what we use too, is like an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Just document, real briefly, how many hours and basically what you were working on, just as quick
We do
little,
that.
yeah.
They've been just accepting my paychecks,
And that's, oh, that-
reports.
You're
Perfect.
saying that you can use so why when we were talking about it before, like, was that not an option? So you're saying that out of that 5% for the grants, we can use that to cover the shortfall from the,
I don't know if it'll cover everything like insurance and office
You don't
supplies
know.
or travel.
Do you have
I
reason to believe that it won't?
I don't know.
So we just have to.
I have to
Yeah.
confirm.
Yeah.
All she did say that I knew with admin was personnel. So they put $104,000 into personnel and it would cover our salary but not benefits. So
so.
I could maybe charge benefits, start, like right away, start charging benefits.
Okay, yeah, we need to
I
know
need
that.
to just confirm
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because it seems like because of the paycheck system and stuff like that, I mean, if you left all of the salary and all of the benefits into the $150,000 admin grant, I mean, there's some other sizable costs here, like the insurance, the audit,
Mhm.
legal. I mean, can those be shifted over to program delivery?
That's what I need to confirm.
Yeah, 'cause it
That
seems
they'll
like
take
especially
this,
like-
'cause all I heard was personnel.
Because it seems like it would be easier rather than like splitting up the
Yeah,
personnel
yeah.
and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
that gets messy. Because I know I have to do that with some of my grants, and it is not.
Well, I would try to
Fun
do a
to do.
clean cut, which would be
Yeah.
separating benefits
Benefits.
from actual salary, because they
Yeah.
are two different cost centers.
I know with our federal grants, we can't do that because they're tied together. So I
Well, you'll have to
I
see
would ask that question.
benefits may not be covered, but your salary may, right?
That's
So
what
your
I have to
time may be
clarify.
covered, because that would be more traditionally, like, or, I mean, not to complicate things, right? But like when we do consulting contracts, right? We get a bill from the consultants, it's got a breakdown of their hourly rate. Well, their hourly rate includes everything, right? It's gonna include their insurance and everything, but it's just one rate.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's just a line item, like, I make $275 an hour, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just charge, and normally they'll accept, like HCR should accept something like that, because it's essentially
You
like
made it
you
sound like,
having
yes,
like a
that's
consulting
exactly
help.
it.
So you may not need, you may have to like, I don't know, it just may be a little.
Like a
complicated,
blended
I mean,
rate kind of
yes.
thing, where,
Right.
yeah.
Whatever, your salary plus benefits wraps up as an hourly rate.
Mhm.
That may be the route you go, as opposed to parking and not.
Department of State does that for like their grants. We had to give them a blended rate, so it includes our salary as well as our fringe benefits into one
Honestly,
document.
if DOS accepts it, HCR probably will.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah. And that's how DOS made us do our contract, so.
And if they won't accept like the insurance and things, I'm just gonna ask them if I could just do a budget modification to take the money out of salary and fringe and put it down into the other places where I need it.
So that would fill the gap for if you're able to use it for the program delivery. Because that's a sizable number, almost $92,000.
These aren't all of our operating expenses though. You see, there's a lot of zeros in there. Do you see a lot of zeros? In this grant,
The phase one.
phase one grant, there's a lot of zeros in here. So, I mean,
All right, we'll clarify that with the HCR, so the next meeting you can tell us what their direction is. I think,
so are we good on the phase two and the extension money that they added in and,
yes.
okay. And then the next sheet is just, again, just an updated list of all of our properties, our total cost to date, what we have committed and what's been dispersed. And this has been adjusted to the new dollar amounts from the new extension money.
Thank you for adding those, Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be technical, the Niagara Falls, most of the Niagara Falls are still technically properties.
Oh, these are just
I mean, the ones
These
that
are-
we're doing work on.
properties that our grant funding
Got
touches.
it. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's, I get it, I get it.
Yeah, I would want them to not be.
Well, that's how we set it up, right? So that's why I just want to basically have it still sit with us until we sell it and transfer. Especially the 1,600 turns out that it's 4 addresses and 2 duplexes on one. With a little house. Water board let them rack up $11,000.
So we're still in
Before they turn.
the process on Griswold in their work.
Yeah, I was gonna include that as part of my update, the water
I'll
tower.
wait till your update.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. What about, are we on to the Paris budget adoption?
Sure.
Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I have some questions, but they will be included in the update about some of the projects and where we are and the status of them.
Sure.
Griswold, Upper Mountain Road, Oliver.
Okay, so with the Paris budget, so brief overview of the Paris, what you're looking at right there. So the first column is gonna be for last year's actual numbers off of the final 2024 audit. The next column, the 2025, is gonna be the current year's revenues and expenses to date with an estimate of what will be reimbursed or spent between now and the end of the year. And columns 2026 through 2029 are all estimations. So when I talk about phase one and phase two funding, obviously the phase one is $150,000. It's received and spent annually. And the phase two money, we have to spend that by November of next year. So that's also a yearly thing. So starting with the state subsidies and grants. So 2024, again, is reimbursed. It was from the audit, $418,643. It's the revenue that was reimbursed from HCR phase one, phase two grants per the final audit. 2025 shows $112,830 from phase one, $840,966 from phase two. That's already been received, plus an estimation of what we're going to receive before the end of the year. 2026 is a touch higher because we received a little more phase 2 grant money, which we talked about the grant money extension and the additional money that they put in there. 1,405,263 from the phase 2 new grant. For 2027 to 2029, it's a conservative estimation that we'll receive $1 million in phase 2 money. And I did put in there 200,000 for phase 1 admin grant because we'd like to try to get that increase if they do renew and go into a round 5. So under the municipal subsidies and grants, so starting in next year, this is what Andrew was talking about earlier with the contribution from the municipalities to help support the land bank. So it's just an estimation of a subsidy that will be provided by the local municipalities for land bank operations. And then going into other non-operating revenues, that's bank interest, property sales, HCR phase 2 admin that we did collect. 2024 is bank interest, the sale of 6 Ashley Place, and $750,000 in ARPA funding. But you'll see later in the expenses that we refunded that to the county. 2025 is bank interest and the sale of Canthal Globar. 2026 is an estimation of bank interest and the sale of the Niagara Falls properties that we have stabilized and they're on the market right now. The real estate agents estimated those sales to be approximately $405,000. And then 2027 to 2029 is an estimation of the bank interest and sale of approximately 4 properties at $50,000 each. Moving down to the expenses.
How are we gonna get revenues? How do we recapture revenues from the sale of Niagara Falls properties that we've stabilized? Are they still owned by Urban Renewal?
We almost,
We own the house.
The ones
Those,
that-
we're talking about those that we
the
own.
ones
Not
that,
talking about the,
Residential.
not talking about the Blue Cardinal properties.
Yeah.
no, I'm
These
talking
are the
about like
residential.
Grove Avenue,
Yeah.
those ones that we,
And just so you're aware, all those properties were acquired before Tyler and so
Yeah.
those have
Yeah.
been sitting in the city coffers for a long, long time. So,
The residential properties that we
Correct.
stabilized that we're gonna sell. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that makes sense.
so there shouldn't be any issue.
so moving down to expenses, and salaries and benefits, 2024 is the actual number from the audit, 2025 is where we are now, plus an estimate till the end of the year. 2026 to 2029 is an estimate building in a possible slight increase. Professional services contracts include legal, audit, closing, and real estate commission, paychecks, construction management services, and consulting. 2024 is from the actual audit expenses. 2025 is where we are now, plus an estimate of what we'll spend till the end of the year. And it's slightly higher due to an increase in consulting expenses in pre-development that we've spent on the Main Street properties. Also, 2026 to 2029 is an estimate with slight increases built in. Other operating expenses include insurance, land bank dues, travel, office supplies, equipment, rent, acquisition, etc. 2024 is the actual numbers. 25 is what we currently spent, and then the estimation till the end of the year. 2026-29 shows an increase due to the prediction that we'll be acquiring 2 properties a year at $30,000 each, plus slight increases built in for things like insurance premiums. Capital asset outlay is demos, property repairs, and stabilizations. These expenses are all covered by the HCR Phase 2 grant as of right now. 2024's numbers are from the audit, 25 is what we've already spent and what we might spend till the end of the year. 2026 is higher because the grant extension and the additional funding from HCR that was made available, but we will have to spend that next year. And 2027 to 2029 is an estimation of future land bank projects. So the bottom line shows our revenues over expenditures, and you'll see that 2026 shows a little more revenue due to the sale of the Niagara Falls properties that are currently on the market.
What are the other non-operating expenditures? Did you touch on?
Non-operating
Yeah, because you have
is
it in 24.
bank interest, property sales, HCR Phase 2, the admin money, we did get free and clear, but won't be going forward.
Do you mean the 750,000?
Yeah.
That was the ARPA
Oh,
money that was given.
You mean the other non-operating,
Oh,
the
okay.
expenditure? Yeah, that was us refunding the
Yeah.
money back to the county for ARPA. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
it just needs to be adopted and then I'll submit it.
okay, motion to adopt the Mr. Bocho, Mr. Forma, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. 1509 Main Street, property disposition.
Yeah, absolutely. So 1509 Main Street. I've got here the scoring matrix that was used by the Main Street Committee to assess this offer from the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area for 1509 Main Street. I'm going to pull that up so everyone's aware. This is the church at the corner of Main and Lockport. If I can get a better view. I want to make sure everyone's aware of one thing. It's frozen. Might not be that good over here. Okay, so this church building, and I think I can share my screen. I'll do that in a second here. Also includes this rectory / events building in the rear. So the heritage area is aware of that. They plan to occupy both spaces. This will be an artisan market similar to the one in North Tonawanda in the greenhouse building.
There's the church in North Tonawanda.
The church in North Tonawanda, there's a couple of them. The markets and they draw tourists, they draw all kinds of activity. People from all over look for these kinds of places as a center. And this is the basically the start of the Main Street District. So it would be a nice, I think, addition. Not to belabor it, but this is 1509 Main that you'd be voting on to disposition to the heritage area.
Do we have to vote to accept the property from the URA and then dispose of
I
it?
think, Jackie, we already,
Last month, we already accepted
No, we didn't.
them.
All right, that's right.
just gonna share my screen with you guys real quick, sorry. You should see that now.
So is this just a transfer or is this a sale?
This would be a sale
So sale for
through us. Okay. And we would put a development enforcement mortgage on this project.
It's a Niagara area heritage.
But yeah, Sarah Kate and those folks that run the underground railway. So yeah, it's a maker's market / concept.
Depending on what happens to the library, ultimately, that corner could be like a really awesome corner. The library in Niagara Falls needs to be, and something else put there. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. It's certainly not gonna happen tomorrow, but if that does happen, and that becomes something better than what its current use is, that corner will be like a value, could be a value.
Well, it's the gateway to the district, and I think that, this group has been kind enough to, mow the lawn as part of their application process, which has been kind of helpful, but they're very, very involved. They're very, very active in the community, and I think they'll do a very visible job, a very good job making this a destination, and drawing people into the district, which will help all the other projects.
And frankly, as far as the use goes, it's a small building. Like the church is actually pretty small on general standards, so it's really not going to be adaptable for much
All right,
else.
so the members from Niagara Falls, we have a motion.
Motion for.
Mr. Bocho, Mr. Forma, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. All right, 1708 Main Street
Yep.
and 811 Division.
And 1634.5 acres.
So I'm gonna give you the scoring on this proposal real quick, just to kind of give you an idea. So the committee scored this almost at a 90,
Hold
which
on a
is
second, what are you looking at? 'Cause I can't.
We don't have that.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's not.
That's in these in the middle here as part of their
Did you-
application.
I emailed those to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I saw them.
Oh.
I can't see them. I didn't.
Let me zoom in. Is this a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I completely understand, believe me. So this really quickly, the matrix is here. These are each category of what we were judging the proposal on. Here are notes that each of these folks added in, and this is the average of all of their scores across each of them. So what I just wanted to point out about this one is 89.125, I think is the highest score any proposal has gotten so far. And this is a very experienced group from Buffalo that has done other projects that are like historic tax credits.
Actually, Baptiste is from Lewiston. He's
Lewiston.
an architect out of Lewiston, and then Jason Yachts is involved in this. So
Yes.
you know, Tom Yachts, who's very prominent in the historic preservation community. Jason's his son.
And so we're aware this is the Jens building that we're talking about, 1708.
So it's actually the large building plus that used to be Jen's, Ben's, and Boys.
On the left
To the
there.
left.
Yes. And then because we're dispositioning 811 Division and 1634 and a half 8th Street, I just want everyone to be aware that is, so you go down Division here, and this starts 811 Division, which includes all of this rear house back here, and then this garage. This garage, it's like these parcels going with the Jens building. I don't want to overstate it, but it's a good thing because I don't know what other use that garage has other than to stay with the building that it was built with. And 811 Division is not, it's probably going to be a demo candidate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, right, so the proposal here is for 30 market rate apartments. The
Market rate.
market rate. The bottom floor is sort of like a West Side Bazaar or weedy concept where it's like a market, like almost like a bunch of different stalls and markets for people down there. The men's and boys building and these two back buildings are really meant to be indoor parking for the tenants. So, I mean, the men's and boys building, essentially, they're proposing a curb cut off of Main Street that you can pull your car in, get out of your car, you walk right into your apartment building and go upstairs. So you wouldn't even have to go outside, right?
The building right there.
That'll be this.
That would be indoor parking.
So overall, it was a very strong concept, very strong team. Like I said, just overall, these groups have done quite a number around the predicate in Buffalo.
Is that an elevator shaft that's on the?
There is that's not the elevator
No,
shaft,
okay.
but there is an elevator.
There is, okay.
It's more on the back.
Okay.
Like when you walk in, but we don't have to replace the elevators.
Right. No, that's good, if they're entering from the parking garage.
Yeah.
Big time. There is, so the Monroe building in Buffalo is one of theirs. I think it's familiar with that. The Record Theater building on Main Street. Jason Yachts' team was involved in that. So my point is there's adaptive reuse experience. And this is the project that was $17 million that was reported. If you want, what I can do, just for a little more context, is I'll go back to Main Street.
Remember what the timeline was? It's like 2 or 3 years. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, these folks are eager to already get started on this. They've been contacting us probably weekly. Hey, can we get in there? Can we go start taking that?
Jason, yes, we should, we gotta talk, I don't know, something about funding, I have a call set up with him this week.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're all seeing it too. This is the area. It encompasses this whole thing basically. This is 811 Division. This is 1643 and a half 8th Street. This is 1708 Main Street, including the men's and boys section and the main building.
Oh, and to answer your question, Matt, so the idea would be that they're gonna try and save the buildings and reuse them for like parking and stuff like that. But if they can't, they would just rebuild like a kind of just like an HRV. cinder block garage behind there, but
Okay.
it's behind the building. It's not on Main Street. There shouldn't be any issues with that.
Matt, what is the building across Division?
Yeah. 802, 1802 Main Street.
I'm sorry, the one behind that, the small building.
This
That
one.
red one, it's a privately owned building. It's actually for sale.
I don't know why, I just wanted.
It's actually the only one on the block that is not unoccupied. Besides the ones the URA owns, it's the only one on the block that's not an occupied Airbnb.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But there's that little for sale by owner sign is still on it. So maybe a future acquisition, once we get rid of, shed a little more of the portfolio. The neighbor there, if you go and talk to him, he's an owner occupied Airbnb. We'll explain that.
Eduardo.
Will be 2 hours.
That is
We got a tour of his, he's got like a certified butterfly garden sanctuary or whatever they call it.
Oh, cool.
in his yard.
I just really quickly, I also want to, while we're talking about the Gens building and we're here in the land bank meeting, I just want us to know, like, and celebrate the fact that we had a big role in getting this ready. Like we closed the door on the roof that the pigeons were getting in, cleaned out the pigeon waste, and got rid of all of the sandals. There was like 60,000 pairs of sandals.
Really?
So we got a final count on the dumpster.
10. There was 10 of these dumpsters.
Wait a minute, what do you mean sandals?
The Cave of the Wind sandals. So
Oh.
back before Blue Cardinal, when Hastings owned the property, there was a professor from Niagara University who
Was running a project to send the Cave of the Wind sandals to the third world countries
I
that didn't have
remember
sandals.
that.
he would
Dr. Taylor. We met with Dr.
He
Taylor.
realized that the parks was just throwing them out, so
Right.
he would have his students actually clean them, package them, and ship them overseas. He estimates he sent well over 1 million pairs of sandals overseas.
So that was his kind of clearinghouse?
Mhm.
So this was his staging area, but when Blue Cardinal came over, they would lock them out.
So what happened to those sandals?
They're in a dumpster. They're in a landfill because they were at the end of their usable material
The
life
poor kids in
cycle.
Ethiopia.
Well, they were filled with raccoon and poop and mold.
We actually contacted some local groups to see
Interesting.
if they wanted them, and nobody wanted them.
But my point is, the work that we do is facilitating much, much larger work. And I'm saying this for everyone's benefit as much as myself, as we need to tell that story. I think this has been a big win for us, as an organization, the Main Street Project overall. And I think our involvement has,
I think that story, when this building is a shiny building with people walking in and out of all the time, we need to get that out.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's just a lot of skepticism, not amongst like the crowd that like this crowd, but once this is successful, then it's a story. Right now, it would be greeted with, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it.
of course.
Pigeon feces isn't a great story until it's developed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Now it's just shutting a door.
Right.
Getting rid of pigeons.
Yep.
But it'll be bigger. Do they have,
Oh, yeah.
do they have a plan for preserving the mural on the front?
I think
so the
the-
mural
What are we
is,
gonna do with that?
the mural is,
What are we doing with that mural? Somebody
you want
multiple.
it, do you want it?
I don't want it.
So
It's
the
my house.
mural on the building, on the windows itself, those are appliques. That was part of a DRI grant that the Heritage Area
Yes.
Group did. I have no actually documentation that they actually had approval from the previous owner to put them on the building. However, we will work with the Heritage Group to do something with them. They have to have those, they're supposed to guarantee those for 5 years under their DRI grant. So we'll see. I mean, we're gonna work with the developer to see, it's been probably at least 2 years since they've gone on, so.
There are plenty of other buildings that are sitting at idle that they can be rehoused, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, that would be, I also said if the developer replaces the windows, then you can just give the Heritage Group the windows and they can do like or stack the art piece or something with them.
I'm hoping.
There's a lot of windows.
I'm hoping the team's able to do something with the neon sign. That would be nice to see.
But no, it's a really exciting project, so we're really happy. I mean, collectively, these 4 developers represent 9 properties of the 38 that we acquired from Niagara. So,
Did we already pass this one? Oh, we did. All right.
no.
So the members from Niagara Falls can read this one too.
Almost.
Bochio,
Second.
Mr. Forma. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 2109, 2111, 2113.
Yes, so 2109 is the 3-story building you see here, the nightclub, Fusion Nightclub building that is on the ground floor. There are 6 apartments above. And 2111, 2113 are the parcels adjoining here. It's a little distorted, but it's right up to the Colt block here. So you can see that 2119, this is 2113, this is 2111.
So then the proposal is to maintain 6 market rate apartments with a ground floor retail component. I guess is that, the other properties will probably use for off-street parking for the tenants.
Right.
Oh, 21, they got a really high score too, 90.85. And of everybody that, examined this proposal, the only real question was about the ground floor usage. Their only gap, really.
Then local Niagara Falls developer, he's done a lot of mid-range projects, so it's Ryan Dahlia. So it's a solid proposal.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Bochio, second by Mr. Forma, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. 717, 723 division.
Okay, this is my favorite house in the whole thing.
That's something.
It is.
So-
I'm sure it was like that last time, yeah.
This is our matrix rubric for this proposal. Develop Niagara is the Noel Munoz Karen Mock group. They have a very deep bench of experience. They would be operating an Airbnb out of this space. They have a lot of experience operating Airbnbs. In their financials, they have a well-established operation of Airbnbs. So this project would include this and the parcel next to it, which is 717. This right here is 717, right up until, is it all of this, Kevin?
No, I don't think it's.
It's
all-
like up until here, just about.
I don't know. I think the end is either privately owned or there's a lot of extraneous land along here when they remove the parkway.
Mhm.
So I think technically it might be with parks, some of the excess property that's along there.
But
But
and from what I understand, they own these 2 properties as well.
3, I thought they said.
Oh, 3. There might be another. Yeah, I can't see it. 1, 2, and then maybe this lot too.
Okay.
So they would likely be setting up an Airbnb corner here, which you'd have the view of the gorge.
And like I said, the White House too is the butterfly guy that is also an Airbnb.
Yes.
So this whole lot would essentially be Airbnb.
It's the place for them.
All right, I'll move this one.
Sorry.
Second by Mr. Forma, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So we talked a lot about Main Street already, so I don't want to belabor the whole Main Street thing. I just have a little bit of a presentation and I want to change what I'm sharing here. PowerPoint. So to support further efforts in Main Street, we're going to be doing masonry and roof work on a couple buildings here. 1902 and 2025 Main. We're working with Rodriguez to get the quotes for that. Probably do a full screen here on this. 1908 Main has been marketed and shown by a number of parties. Nobody's expressed any real interest. By the way, this is 2010 Main. I just put this up here to represent Main Street because this is our building. This is Norlick's building. But 1908 Main is a more retail space that we're going to shore up the floor and the basement stairs. It has infrastructure for like a cafe space, so we're just trying to kind of move the needle enough that a developer will say, okay, well, we can take on the rest, just like we do with our housing, basically. And 2002 Main may get that treatment if nobody expresses enough interest in it, as well as we're working on 813 Cleveland with Preservation Studios and the State Historic Preservation Office to determine what can and can't be done with that building. Because that's the rectory building, that's a Medina sandstone building from like the 1850s that has the addition from the 1950s. It's an industrial.
Fabric store, and then they used to have fur storage in the back. So there's there's essentially it's a beautiful Medina sandstone building that they sort of carved out, made a storefront on the front, and then have this like warehouse addition on the back.
So that's the bulk of our involvement on Main Street right now is what we're doing with all of these projects at these addresses. I'm gonna keep rolling unless anybody has questions about that.
Are you moving off of Main Street?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just gonna jump in really
Oh,
quick,
sure,
just to
go
give an environmental update on everything that's going on Main Street. So we've been working on a lot of phase ones, asbestos surveys at all of the properties. So I just got draft reports for 1509 Main Street, 1628 Main Street, 1632 Main, 1636 Main, 1708 Main, 1643 and a half 8th Street, 1902 Main, 1908 Main, 802 Lincoln, 808 Lincoln, 826 Lincoln, 830 Lincoln, 917 Niagara, 915 Niagara, 2109 Main, 2011 Main, 2111 Main, 2113 Main, and 1711 Main. So I'm trying to review all of those reports, and hopefully when I can get comments to Rebella by the end of next week, so they can all be finalized, because I know some of them are being sold. So we want to provide the developers with the phase ones. I've asked Rebella to include a reliance language in the report, so that way the developer can use the phase one that we did when they go get rate financing. Yeah. So, and I asked them to, and I think initially the URA was on there anyway. So hopefully we'll have all those reports finalized. And then there's other properties where building access is not available. So I've asked Lavella to see if they can use a drone to access inside of those buildings. So we'll see how that comes about.
What's Medina sandstone?
Oh, it's
It's
awesome.
a building material. It's reddish.
No, yeah, which is a Medina stand for something?
It's
Medina.
from Medina. There was
That's what they were famous for.
there's a deposit of this material in Medina.
They covered up
The Capitol in Albany, the Capitol steps, I think, are all Medina sandstone.
So somebody built a storefront in front of the building.
Yes.
Oh.
And so SHPO is debating what can and can't be torn down, because it's compromising the more historic Medina sandstone building, but it's an old, so it's,
Do they have, but SHPO doesn't provide resources or funding, they just
No,
say
they
what
just-
can and can't be torn down, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. If the state was interested
Right, I mean,
in
I think
maintaining this building, then they.
we could, if the costs are so exorbitant or it can't be saved, then I think we'd have a demo, ability to demo it, but, and I think,
I'm not an expert, though, but
we can't get inside it, but if you wanna do it, because it's
I
even
can tell-
rougher
I can tell
inside.
from the outside, it doesn't,
No.
you can see parts
Why?
of the inside.
My major concern is that when they added the storefront and added that addition, how much they might have compromised the structural integrity of the main building.
right.
Because I think they removed like sides of the building interior to open it up for a store.
Absolutely.
So if we remove that, then is there enough left to actually maintain that building? And how do you fix Medina sandstone? Can we still get it
Get more.
as a material?
All right. I want to make sure that we get through a couple other things. I wanted to kind of let everyone know that these houses that we've been stabilizing are on the market now. So these, moving away from Main Street and thinking, we've got this as our new after photo of this house. So this is the before and this is the after.
Wow.
And I have the interiors and not much, but the garbage has been changed on the interior. This is our strategy, is to get the envelope sealed. As you can tell from this, there was a, well, I don't know if you can see it, right in here. This is a hole in the roof. So this was a hole. And with the new roof, the interior is dry. And it you can tell, like it's a different feel in the house already. I just want to go through a couple more, just kind of give you a flavor of what we've been doing with this rehab or the stabilization effort. 1535 Pierce, also on the market, looking better. 2401 Whitney, it's actually an after and before, so before, after. I know, I before we talked too much about porches, we chose not to do much with porches because we felt that was an aesthetic choice that the owner might want to make. So we did stabilize this porch and shore it up so that it matched the overall composition of the siding. But as far as changing the composition or the like you can see it in this one too, we didn't really do much with this porch roof other than to, kind of make sure that it wasn't like unstable.
But just imagine living across the street from any one of those houses. I mean,
Yeah.
your life just got a whole lot better.
And they could watch, all of these things unfold. And I personally have been out, especially this house. Neighbors will come up and say, how nice it is to have this done. I stopped getting phone calls from the block club president on Memorial Parkway about this house like a couple months ago because they're no longer concerned. So it is the conversation is changing. Yes. I love her. And I don't mind. I don't mind taking her calls. That's not what
No,
it's
she's a
about.
good citizen. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad that people are happy. And that's what Jackie alluded to. These there's a couple other ones. I didn't want to belabor it, but this should total around 400,000 with all of these home sales. We spent roughly 700,000 or thereabouts to stabilize these homes. Other land banks are subsidizing their work to a much higher degree than we are, is I think the story that comes out of this.
Well, Matt and I figured it out because the New York State Land Bank Association is being encouraged, and correct me if I'm saying anything wrong on that, but like by the governor, to build manufactured homes
Yeah.
at, what's the cost?
Like $500,000 each.
$500,000 a piece. So we figured it out based on how much we spent compared to how much we're gonna get back for that exact same amount of money. We have, we're putting 5 houses back online. And that's improving providing like local jobs, and it's quality housing. Whereas, the directive really coming from Albany is to build lesser quality homes for, 5 times the cost and just further the urban sprawl issues that we have and not really help communities.
Well, and possibly setting people up to fail
So,
with housing they can't afford or maintain, as well as, just the idea that we believe that by doing this, we're actually using the public trust to a better degree. This is a better investment. So, tell your friends we have housing there.
Before we go on,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking like it'd be great if the land bank had this story on their website. We could promote this. Like I as a municipality would definitely promote these stories.
That's a great
on
question.
the work that the land bank's been doing, especially around Niagara Falls, to just generally improve the sense of this is serious. Like, right, we are doing stuff around
Promoting
here.
what we've done in the neighborhoods, the stories that Matt
Yeah.
just showed us, that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
The Main Street, that's gonna be an awesome story 3 years from now. Right now, if we
Yeah.
start promoting that, we'll get a lot of pushback.
Yeah, no,
Who are you trying to kid? Because there's a lot of intelligent, sensible people who question where that's going.
I meant the before and after, right?
Yep.
So yes, and then as Main Street starts coming online and we start to see work and all of that, then that would be the time to promote that. But no, I would agree. I'm just talking about the work that's been done by the land bank.
Residential stuff.
Yeah, because it's transformative, right?
Well,
That's the whole idea. So
I was I could see this as an ArcGIS story map. Are you familiar with the story maps? How they do like they they tell the story essentially, and you show maps and photos, and it all seamlessly blends together. You can stick it on our website. It's a cool tool. It's on the
We need,
company.
we need to do that.
I would love-
Search for my office could probably help with
Okay.
that. I mean, if he doesn't know how to do it, he's a very, very smart guy. He can figure it out.
That's
Plus,
nice.
we already paid for the licenses. So,
Well, that, I
we
mean,
may as well use
Yeah,
that.
exactly, right, yeah.
At
Andrew and I-
$3,000 a piece, we may as well use that.
Andrea and I have talked about telling our story in this way, you know, as we've been doing this, and I think now, to all of the point I think that's swirling around, now is the time.
Yeah.
So when I've talked to Greg Strauss from 716, who's our broker, we're gonna do, I think, maybe not specific to any property, maybe we'll do it at like 1805 Weston, but like a marketing blitz that we can turn into reels, we can turn into shorts, we can turn into social media, that he can do a podcast around. 716 Realty has a very broad reach from marketing. So I think if we kind of lean into them a little bit, get the message out there. This is what we were talking. I was talking to him last night about this because I'm like, you know, I didn't put it in here, but I have a breakdown of how many calls we've gotten for each of those houses, how many times they've shown them, how many people are, you know, interested in the feedback we've been getting.
We gotta be very careful on the messaging, though. We don't need to talk about it now, but yeah, we definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Have to, because I would be reluctant to put numbers in there. You know what I mean? Because if you don't really appreciate the full story, and maybe everybody might disagree, but if you only hear a number of like, oh, you spent X amount of dollars, like,
That can be twisted.
very, yeah.
Misinformation.
Yeah.
No, this is great. This is perfect because I think as we tell a story, we want to be cognizant of all of this, right? So
I mean, just overall, it's great work that the land bank's been doing. You know, I personally am appreciative of it. So I think getting that word out to folks is.
okay, this that you see here is a little bit. Don't pay attention to the text because it's a longer story than that. And it centers around the NEPA notification. So long story short is the water tower demolition is not on hold, but on pause, only because I'm waiting for the final approval from HCR for the funding to do the demo. So what happened was we submitted the documentation with the NEPA notification, and that is not their usual. So they didn't know how to take it. They didn't know how to review it. So I had to go back to SHPO to get different new standard documentation for only the work that we're doing. The reason this NEPA notification came through is because the FCC was involved with the Sheriff's Department building a constructing a communications tower. We're not involved in that. We don't have anything to do with the construction of a communications tower. They asked us, our partner, Niagara County, the Sheriff's Department asked us to knock this water tower down. That's the entirety of our involvement. So,
Are they replacing communications that are on the tower? Is that
Well,
No.
they're building a tower.
right.
For the building public safety communication tower.
Right, and we are only demolishing this tower. So once the that work is done, we're walking away as an organization, and that was the holdup. Really, was just making that clear.
Okay. I just wanted to know where we're at that time.
Yeah. So I'm just still waiting for a final ruling on that, basically. And then you mentioned about the Shaw Building. So Casanova Recovery's we went back and forth. They have something that with their grant that I had to refer them to home for a different reason. We're gonna talk about.
Wait, I have an update on that one. So Casanova is not interested, in it, which is fine. So I spoke with Katie, who had to jump off because she had a 10 o'clock, about the land bank, like marketing it and selling it, placing it with the realtor. And she checked in with county attorney's office and with treasurers to make sure that they didn't have any reluctancy. They're in favor of it. So following, this meeting, we can move forward, schedule a meeting with 716, and unless anybody has any objections to it, and list the property. So, I mean, I think we're optimistic that maybe we can find a really good use for it. And obviously our typical development enforcement mortgage will be put in place.
So would Norlick own that property? or the county would own it, but Norwood would just market it.
Yeah, same thing, just transfer it like we always do, like the,
So it's, and then, I'm touching base with 716 today anyway, so we can get that going right away.
And I mean, I would say that maybe, I don't know.
Because
who's
the
ma-
county and the transfer is still kind of.
Yeah, who's and so Public Works will continue to maintain it, like in terms of, okay, so we don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
on them.
Okay, so, but we should communicate with them when we start doing this, so if somebody's mowing the lawn, they know who's there.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you know, plow it in case people want to go look at it. things like
Right.
that. Okay.
It could be a revenue source to possibly put the plant up too.
That's that's it for me. We have other things going on, but I didn't want to. I know we're over time.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Oliver Street. Just to let everyone know, Oliver Street. We have Big Daddy's. SHPO approved the. They reviewed it. They said it was not historic, and then we're gonna clean it out. I submitted it as one of our sites. So HCR is, that's another HCR I'm waiting for approval on. They've been a little slow recently, more than what's been usual. So I don't know if it's a capacity issue or what.
They're training a new person.
They're training a new person in their office, and she's taken over the land bank initiative. So it's been a different style and communication dealing with HCR. But it's just one of those things. We submitted that Big Daddy's. I'm just waiting to make sure that we get to go ahead to clean it out. And that's for what we're doing with that right now. The other North Tonawanda property is Frederica Street, and that we're moving forward. We almost have all the documentation we need for the environmental review to move forward with the demo.
Okay. All right, Katie, jump off the call.
Yeah, she had a ton of time.
All right, we don't have anything else, huh? All right, I'll move to adjourn. Second by Mr. Roach, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks.
Wait.